This episode is brought to you by Fox One. Watch all 104 matches of the FIFA World Cup live in 4K for just $19.99 a month with 3 days free. Build your own multi-view, choose up to 3 streams, and follow player spotlights. Stay on top of every moment with live stats, highlights, and instant replays. The FIFA World Cup, streaming live on Fox One. Offers are subject to change. See fox.com for complete terms and conditions.
Adobe Firefly is the all-in-one creative studio with AI-powered image and video editing for today's creative process. Built for creators of every kind, Firefly helps you generate, edit, and experiment fast. Because the asks aren't getting smaller, the budgets aren't getting bigger, and the timelines, oh yeah, still tight. With all the best creative AI models in one place, Firefly brings your ideas to life. Unlock a better way to make with Adobe Firefly.
This is one of Hollywood's biggest unsolved mysteries. But tonight it's going to be pretty lighthearted. It's actually not dark and dreary like all of ours are. This is a serious case that I'm about to talk about. Many people got hospitalized. Tons of people were hurt and injured from this. But it's pretty lighthearted in the grand scheme of things, okay? And it's the time that the Titanic cast was actually poisoned. So they were having a big party, pretty much like after they were wrapping up a day of production, where 150 people were actually dosed with PCP without them knowing. Somebody had spiked the clam chowder with angel's dust, PCP, which is a highly hallucinogenic drug. It's actually very dangerous. And somebody laced the clam chowder with this. So all the people were affected differently. So some people that had just a little bit were, barely affected at all. Some people ate a crap ton of it, or if you're smaller and you weigh less, it's all going to affect people differently. Only about 80 people were hurt enough to actually have to be seen by nurses and doctors, but 150 people were affected. Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet were not there, but James Cameron, the director, and Bill Paxton, famous actor, they were there. And it got crazy, and it got dark, and it got bad really fast. So to this day, no one knows who laced the clam chowder. No one's come forward. No one's been caught. A full police investigation was done, but they could never figure out who did this. Now, James Cameron, he thought that he was in his hotel room when he was actually still in the cafeteria area, and he was just walking into the wall trying to reach for an imaginary doorknob, just repeating over and over, I can't figure out how to get out of here. I can't figure out how to get out of here. He thought he was in his hotel room alone when he was with over 100 people. So some of the people tried to help him calm down, and one crew member who was also hallucinating said, I think it's shellfish poisoning, and how we can snap out of this is to stab each other in the face with these pencils. Should we do it? And James Cameron said, yes, we should. That guy stabbed James Cameron in the face, and he started hysterically laughing, because he couldn't feel it. He couldn't feel what was going on, and he thought it was the funniest thing he'd ever felt or experienced and seen, and he just started dying laughing. Bill Paxton, he was convinced that he had read somewhere that to come down from this drug, because that's what he thought it was, and he was right. He thought that he had read somewhere that you should drink a ton of alcohol, and that will kind of numb out the effects of the PCP. So in less than 1 hour, he drank 24 beers and almost died. They actually had to pump his stomach. It was a big deal. Now, other cast members did all sorts of other things. One person said, we can recreate the Titanic right now. If this bird doesn't shut up, I might actually hang myself. So one person said, let's recreate the Titanic right now. And they jumped in freezing cold waters in Nova Scotia, which is where this was happening at, and actually almost died from hypothermia because they thought they could recreate the scenes from the Titanic just by themselves. And they said, hey, somebody should film this. And then other people jumped into the water and also almost froze to death. Now, other people did crazier stuff because once they realized there was a major situation, the police were there, ambulances were there, fire department was there. They literally were calling in buses to take people to the hospital. So as people got there to the hospital, in a bus together, they formed an impromptu conga line, which this is, I'm not making this up. This is not a joke. You can look it up yourself. They made a conga line and started dancing through the hospital, causing all kinds of disruptions because it's a functioning hospital. It's a real hospital that is doing surgeries and all this other stuff. They started stealing hospital equipment. They famously stole a bunch of wheelchairs and electric wheelchairs, drugged them out into the street, and started doing what they called stunt wheelies and wheelchair races. And then they started gambling on these wheelchair races. It became a big deal. It was actual pure chaos and pandemonium. And they're trying to set people down and test them out because some people are in for real danger of overdosing. But everybody's just having the best time of their entire life. And that's how, if I'm going to go out, that's how I want it to be. Now, a lot of people have said this exact, thing that I'm making light of right now is the reason why a lot of people quit Hollywood and leave Hollywood is because of, so this was somebody's idea of a joke when it actually could have cost a lot of people their lives. James Cameron was hurt. Other people almost got hypothermia. Bill Paxton was hurt, had to, be in the hospital for that. There was a lot of things that could have gone way, 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 way worse. And they kind of wanted to keep it kind of under wraps and kind of secret. So apparently it didn't get out very heavily. That's why a lot of people don't know this story. And then, like I said, Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet were not there. If they were there, I'm sure it would have been a much bigger deal than what it was. But they were not there. They were off filming the other scenes. This scenes that they were filming at this time that this happened was the scenes that are like in modern day time when they took the old lady to the submarine to take her down there and stuff to see the wreck or whatever. So luckily the old lady, whoever that was that played Old Lady Rose, did not partake in the clam chowder, because we know some old folks love clam chowder. Luckily she just wasn't there eating that clam chowder. So can you imagine from the other perspective though, like so many people that didn't eat the clam chowder? Because I know I would never eat clam chowder. So I'd have been there sitting there having a normal dinner and then looking around like, what the hell are these people doing? Like, these people are starting to go nuts. And not knowing a ton about the drug world, I would have been completely bad. I'd been like, what is happening? How weird of an experience for those people, or like, imagine the cast and crew members that are married and have kids and families, and, their wife hears about they're at the hospital getting their stomach pumped for PCP. You're going to be like, that piece of shit was out there partying. And actually, all he was doing was just chilling, eating some clam chowder. And, his wife probably never believed him. Maybe that's why no one's been caught, is because they were all just doing a bunch of drugs and they're like, hey, to get out of this, let's just say somebody spiked it, but then no one claimed any credit for it. Maybe that was the hoax. I don't know. Maybe it was a big giant party and no one actually did do this on purpose. Who knows? Go down that rabbit hole though if you want to see the crazy stuff that happens in Hollywood and these big parties like this. Because like I said, this was a normal dinner until it turned into one of the most disruptive things that Fairfax, Nova Scotia had ever seen. I said Fairfax, it was Halifax. So Halifax. If you like these weird tidbits of information and the conspiracy theories and just weird stuff in general that we talk about, follow the podcast. It's called Matt from Nomads on Spotify and Apple Podcast, and it's called Nomads Animal Reserve on YouTube.